Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Mike Stratton. I am a systems engineer here at Verify, and I'll be your host for today's session. We are going to be showing you how to build some executive-friendly reports and widgets. Here to walk us through all of it is another systems engineer, Mr. Dre Debots. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great, Mike. Thanks for asking.
Good, good. We are looking forward to your expertise today. Please note that these webinars are always recorded and posted within 24 hours, so you can review them at any time. Check out verify.com/company/webinars for all of our past or upcoming sessions. Or if you go right to our website, you should be able to see this. Just go to webinars and you can find the upcoming webinars, recent webinars, and you can also search for, or you can browse or search for all of our past webinars. Okay. So today, first we'll start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. Then we'll jump into a live demo where Dre will show us some widgets and reports. We'll pause for the Q&A. During the demo, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel in the bottom right corner of the screen. And after the Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you've won. Quick overview of Verify. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco and Zoom collaboration. It's deployable either on-prem or as a hosted cloud solution. We provide industry-leading call reporting and analytics, as well as customizable dashboards and widgets, UCCX reporting, remote phone control, change management, Cisco Cube CDR, and our latest additions, Zoom and WebEx call reporting. If you have any questions on any of our features, please contact us at support@verify.com or reach out to your account manager. One more thing before we kick everything off. For additional fee, Verify offers an enhanced consulting service to our customers. Verify's SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, report building, dashboard configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you with a dedicated Verify SE to do all the heavy lifting, giving you a stress-free, hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us or your account manager, and we'll be glad to speak more in depth about pricing in terms of our service for an enhanced consulting service or ECS. All right, now that's over. Let's get into the wild. Dre, I'm going to pass the ball off to you.
All right. I actually already took that ball from you pretty
There we
quickly.
go.
We should be showing the screen here. All right. Thank you, everyone. And like Mike said, my name is Jerry Debots. I'm from the systems engineering team. Today, we're going to be going over some of those executive style reports and widgets. And what we mean by executive style is what we're going to do is create some high level reports and dashboards for your higher ups, your CEOs, department managers, things like that. The main goal from these type of reports and dashboards is going to be provide simple reporting that has the info that you're going to want to see at a quick glance. So a lot of these reports won't go into the finer details. We're not going to have call history. We're not going to have, the cradle to the grave. We're not going to have all that stuff turned on because for something like this, we want a high level overview. If you want the call history stuff, we can turn that on with a click of a button. So it's pretty simple to do. But today we just want to show some of that high level stuff. And we're going to be doing that on some departments, some hunt groups. But you can also do these on device pools, a group of employees, and just get some valuable statistics for them. So you can see there's three reports I have up here. First one we're going to look at is this calls to departments report. I'm going to throw that up here. Move this window out of the way. All right. So as you can see, I'm zoomed in pretty good, so hopefully you can see that one well. Ran this for a previous week, so most of these reports are previous week, just so I have some good data in there. As you can see, really nice, easy report here where you get your departments and some good statistics from these, and then your totals at the bottom here. So let's take a look at how we can build this report. So we're going to go through the ones I've already built here. So if I go to my departments report that I created. So in the basics, you give it your name. One thing I would say is turn off the table of contents. So it kind of gives you less information on the report where you're just getting mostly the data and not all the other stuff that you might not need to know, like cluster and description and stuff. So I would just say do the header summary, and that's about it on the basics page. So what we're going to look at, most of these reports, we're going to be utilizing our call scenario types for our search criteria. If you don't see these in your system, make sure you guys are upgraded to the latest verified version. These are a newer search criteria that we have. So really nice, easy way to be able to pull just some certain scenario types. If I click inside here, as you can see, there's a couple other ones that you can choose from. So for the department report, we're just going to be looking at those answered calls, abandoned calls, and voicemail calls. So when you create your search set here, you can actually just type in like scenarios, scenario types, and then you would select these. So just like making any search criteria, but just from this report, we're just going to do these call scenario types. And then what we're going to do is, so that's going to pull all those scenario types into one. And then we're going to now group that by terminating CUCM department. So we're going to tell this all the calls that had answered, abandoned, or voicemail. Let's group those by departments so we can see just our departments and not everything else. Make sure to turn off the include for unassociated. So we're just looking at those departments in case there's anything unassociated there. You can group this by a couple different ways too. The sorting, sorry. I'm just doing total call count like you saw here, right? So the highest call count was showed up at the top there. And then down here, we're going to turn on the grouping summary and throw in some statistics that you might want to see. For today, we're looking at a lot of the answered, abandoned percentages, voicemail percentages, things like that. If we go over to search sets, I actually turned this one off because we don't want to see everything. We just want to see the details from the grouping section. And then as you can see here, call history, start to finish, which is our old cradle to grave now, is turned off as well. So save that. When you run this guy, let's go ahead and do that. This as well. When, oops, how about not click on it, actually run it. There we go. When you run it, what I would suggest, especially for a couple of these, is to kind of exclude some timing, right? Unless you guys are, if it's a 24-hour shop or, 7 days a week, I would exclude those days and then pick your times. So usually this is, checked by default. So I will turn that off and put in your timing here. It's just going to make things a little more specific and not throw off the numbers, especially with one of the other reports I have to show you. The other report's like a busy hour report. So you don't want that fluff on the ends. That's a bunch of zeros just taking up space in the report. So, and when we run this guy, this is the report we do get. It's the exact same report and making changes. So easy enough just to show you this one here. How these look. You can add, subtract some of this information as well. But for what I was thinking of executive style reporting, I think this is a pretty good, nice high level of a department, right? And just because it says department, and I have this set to departments, we can look at this, in hunt groups, right, as well, or a particular set of numbers. So not just department, but for this report was just more just showing you that department style. All right, so it's kind of how you create that. It's pretty simple. That call scenario search criteria makes things a lot easier now. Just being able to pick and choose what kind of calls you want to see, and then just grouping those. All right, next one, we're going to look at these hunt groups, calls the hunt group. So this is what this call the hunt group one looks like. A little different, changes it up a little bit. As you can see, here's all our hunt groups. And then, the statistics for them there. What we did on this one too is also turned on some graphing. I know a lot of people like graphing, especially for a quick overview. So you can see that for 77280, you can see a little graph. Yellow is the total calls, answered calls in blue, and abandoned, queued, and voicemail calls in the green, red, and blue here, or like a teal, I guess. So yeah, and when you scroll down, each one of those hunt groups are going to show those graphs. Take just a quick glance at all these. Some of these might not have a ton of calls either. So there's a couple in this one. All right, well, let's go take a look on how to set up this one. This one's going to be set up similar. Don't need the user restrictions. Once again, turn off that table of contents. We're going to go into the search sets here. And what I did here was, because we did the same scenario types here. We got those voicemails, the abandoned and answered. But then I also particularly said, let's look at these original called party numbers, which are the hunt groups. We like to do our hunt groups on the original called party number. Just seems a little bit more dialed in here. So I just added those manually. And like I said, you don't have to put them all in here. If you just wanted to look at one hunt group, you could do that and just get numbers from there. If you want to put them all in there, just depends on how detailed you want to get that report and how much info you want in there. Then we're going to also group, turn on that grouping, and we're going to group by original call party number as well. And I sorted this also by the total call count. And then down here, once again, like the other department report, very similar. We're going to turn on that grouping and we're going to select some of these call statistics. Some of these just seem the most important when we're looking at high level stuff. And then below, to get those graphs, you want to turn this option on here. So show grouping scenario volume charts. And what I did here was pick it for, hour of the day. If you wanted to, you could do day of week. You could do other options as well. You got your call scenario types as well here. This one I did turn off the search set summary as well because we wanted to look at the grouping. You can turn this on because we, if you wanted to look at the search set summary, like a quick overview and not have to, and also have the grouping with it, you can turn this one on. It's going to be similar information though because we're grouping on that original called party number 2, and that's what our search sets are on. So, and once again, these are going to be turned off. Just go ahead and save that. Same with this when you run it. Make sure, especially now that we're doing hour of the day on some of these, that we have this time. I think this is going to be pretty important, is to make sure that we select the times that you have, that your work hours in here. So it just provides less fluff at the end of the day with those 0 counts. And we go back to look. This is what that report would look like. And like I said, those hour to days, this is when you turn that one on. This shows you those accounts here in a graph form. All right. All right, let's go take a look at one more report here. This is going to be this busy hours report, and this is what the busy hours report looks like. A little more kind of more detail in here, especially in these two first charts. But you can see a lot of pertinent information here. But if you scroll down, I think this is where we're going to get into some of the important stuff, is these the call statistics by hour and day a week. So as you can see, and this was ran for previous week. So if you look at this, you can see here that looks like 9 a.m. was our busiest time of day. And looks like a lot of voicemails on that day as well, which would make sense. And then below, you can see, what day is kind of our Wednesday. So probably Wednesday, 9 a.m., we're looking at a pretty busy day. Then if you scroll down, we have those similar graphing stats that we had in that hunt group report. And we're just given a graph that people can print out or, show off to say, hey, this is what we're looking like hour of the day for our busiest, a busy hour. So these are all calls that are going into this one. Let's show you how we set this one up. So let's go to our busy hours report. I don't know why I have all these turned on, but sometimes I forget. Just want that one. And here's what we're going to do here is we're going to search on contain X, right? So we're going to say, let's pretty much look at all those incoming numbers, right? All those called party numbers. We're not going to do any grouping on this one. We're going to go straight to our search sets. And we're not even going to do the search set summary because this is more of just a busy hours report. Let's just show off hour of the day, day of week statistic table. So we don't need that other stuff just to make the report larger. Let's keep it detailed for what we're looking at when we're looking at busy hour, right? So got hour of the day and day week, like you saw here. Here's our hour of the day, and here's our day a week. We could select some call statistics that might be pertinent for you. And then down here, same these are all pretty much should be set up the same. We just turn them all on, right? So these are going to be each one of these here. And then let's see, yep, hour to day, day, week. We got the total calls, and everything is the same here. So just to keep it kind of nice and the same throughout the report, no call history, no start to finish. And then this one is going to be the most important one when you do run this report, is making sure, once again, I hate to harp on it, but after doing this report a couple times, forgetting to turn that on, it really makes sense to include the work time, right, and your days a week. And remember, don't click all of these because those will exclude those days. I've run into that a couple times too. So we'll run that. We'll just go back, but that's what that report will look like when you do run it. And like I said here, when you have your 8 to 5 here, these are the only numbers that come in, and then the only days that are here. If you had it set to 12 to 12, you'll have a bunch of just zeros, and it'll just make this PDF look really large. And you know how it looks when you have too many columns with PDFs; it starts cutting them down to the next row, and it just doesn't look good. So to make it look real nice and easy, best way is to make sure you have those times set up. All right, well, let's just do a quick my Q&A on just the reports. We're going to go take a look at the dashboards here, but I just wanted to see if there was any questions out there regarding these reports as of yet.
No, there's no questions. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, ask them in the Q&A panel, and we can relay them to Dre.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at these dashboards. So I already kind of made this whole dashboard, right? Now, I was just trying to think of some widgets that we could include to show, like I said, one of your executives just a kind of a high level overview of some of the stuff that we've already created with reports, but then kind of also putting them into a widget, and then also some other type of widgets that might be pertinent. Let me just start this top one. If you guys aren't aware, this just this text widget here. This is just a like a text message that you can add. You could do you could scroll something important like whatever, your favorite song of the day, whatever it is. You could put a system message in there if you wanted to put scrolling at the top. I have it just wrapping because I don't need to scroll, because I just did it to separate. So everything here under here is system-wide call info, and then you'll see down here, everything under here is all your department hunt groups and busy hour stuff. So let's go take a look. Should have enough time to go through all these. These aren't too difficult to set up. Like I said, you guys can always get a hold of us and we'll help you set these up. These are pretty easy. But this is a system-wide abandonment widget. It's kind of really nice. Go take a look at it here. This is going to be a call volume by time period widget. You're going to want to select your cluster, give it a name. Because we're looking at, I think that was previous 30 days, so we could do refresh at 1 hour. It doesn't have to be super close. We're doing a date for time period. You could change your icons if you wanted. I did a phone dropped as system-wide abandonment, kind of a widget. I think it'd be nice to put that in there. So, and then what we would do is we would turn this the summary bar on, and we would do the abandoned call count and abandoned call ring duration, or abandoned average ring duration. There's other ones if you wanted to put in there. Obviously, I think for just abandonment stuff, this is what we would pick. We go to our search sets. All we did, because these call scenarios are so nice nowadays, all you do is type in call scenario types, boom, pick your abandoned calls, and that's it. You're going to pull all those abandoned calls from the time period that you're selecting here. And I didn't use my own words from earlier. I didn't set a time, but real nice and easy. You could set that time. We'll just do 8 to 5 as 5:59. There we go. Save that. So now, there we go. We'll change that a little bit just because there's probably some calls maybe after hours that came in. All right. So that's that system-wide abandonment widget. We do have some, I did some 911 and international calling. The 911 is pretty easy. You're going to do a call statistic type when you pick your type of widget that you're looking for. Same with everything else. You got your icons and color themes and thing. I went red just because of 911. What we're going to do is total call count, duration, and average ring duration. And then what we did for this one's pretty simple, but it just depends on how you have it set up in your environment. So what we did here was final called party 911. What we do sometimes also is original called party number 9911 if you have a 9 to dial out. So you just want to kind of put in those options that you use to dial out to 911. So for us, 911, we're just doing that, make it simple. Same with time period. This is probably good to just leave on all the time. And then within that, it's just the number statistics, right? We're not going to get too in depth, and you can scroll over. I just made these a little smaller, but as you see, we only had one call, lasts for 1:06, and how long it rang. All right, so these international call ones are going to be very similar as well. Should be that call statistic type, where it looks like we're using the same statistics here. And it's pretty simple, just like the 911s. We're just going to put in how we dial out, right, to our international calls. So if you guys don't make a lot of international calls, you want to make sure people are not calling international. We want to put, something like this in here. The X's are going to be your wild cards. Time period as well, probably all day on this one. Just like the 911, nice and simple. Just had one call, 2 seconds. Looks like they hung up pretty quick. Maybe they made a mistake calling or something. And then I added this one as well. This one just shows you the date and time. The call, a little bit more. I can pull this out a little bit here. A little more information for those international calls, and you could do that for 911 too, if that's going to be an important, some important statistics to see who called and when they called and things like that. We can take a look at that widget. This one should be a call history details widget. And you're going to want to put in, your date time. This is like a regular call report. For anything else, you just want to make sure that you're putting in some of this info here that's going to be pertinent for that type of call. If it's an international call and you want to see date and time, calling party number, which I would believe, and final call party number would probably be good to have that. Same with the search sets. Again, we just did the same search sets. So you could probably copy that widget and just turn it into a call history detail widget. All right. So also added this, the all calls. This is pretty much all inbound and outbound for current day. This was just set up for current day. Just to show you that this is a nice, easy widget that you can make to show you total call counts, abandoned, voicemail counts for the day, week, whatever you want to set it to. And this is going to be another statistics widget here. Select your statistic types. And then how we did this was just do our call scenarios and say total calls, voicemail, and abandoned. We're adding that total calls in this one. So we're seeing all total calls for today, time period, whatever you want your date range set to. Simple as that, nice, easy. And I also added these SIP utilization ones. This might be maybe too detailed for maybe an executive style report, but I at least wanted to show you guys this one as well. It's nice to know maybe some of your gateway router information names. I usually like to set it up per name, but this is an actual utilization concurrency type of widget. So it's going to take those calls that are happening at the same time. And this is where we get those numbers, right? But on this search set, I just picked SIP trunk H323 gateway. But what I would probably do is do originating or terminating device name, and then put in the same name that is in call manager for that trunk or for that device you're wanting to see the utilization, SIP utilization on. And this is pretty much the same one, just in the current day. But as you can see here, if we make this one a little larger here, you can scroll over and you can see, okay, it looks like at between 11 and 11:09 we had, or 11:10, 11:19, sorry, we had 17 concurrent calls. And you could also go in here and click some of these off if you just wanted to see a certain date on a graph. So, all right, those are just kind of those system-wide type of widgets that we can view here. And then down here, we're going to dig into a little bit more of those department hunt groups, busy hour stuff. So pretty much in those reports into a a widget, so a little easier to see, quicker glance instead of having to run a report. So as you see here, we made this widget here. If we go take a look at this one, this was the all calls to departments widget. We're looking at previous week on this one. This is the call distribution one. This is where you're going to see those, the graph at the bottom right, and it's going to give you some nice color-coded, color-coded graph for each one of those departments. We did group this one, so it's going to be similar. It's exactly the same as the department report, right? So we group by that terminating department. And this one looks like I actually did a search set as terminating department, but you can do that call scenario type and just do call scenario on total calls, the abandoned call counts and voicemail counts if you wanted to do that. I think I might have set this one up, forgot to change this one back, but it's going to do the same thing, but to keep with what the report was, probably best is to do it as those call scenarios. So yep, this is what that one looks like. Really nice graph, kind of. You can scroll over and see each individual one, right? Oh, I see. Rentals had 2,500 calls, 2,587 calls. All right, moving on. Same thing here with the all calls departments. We're just grouping these a little differently. This is going to be a grouping widget, and this just kind of places these out a little bit where you can see each one of those departments and the call statistics for each one of those. So if we take a look at that, like I said, this is a grouping statistic. You could just change. You could use that same widget, that all calls the department widget, just change and copy it, change the grouping type, because you're going to make sure that you're grouping by that CUCM department. And this one, of course, I did it the opposite, so that's why our numbers probably aren't matching. So this one I did a little bit differently here. So I ran this as a call scenarios instead of all those departments I had. So this is a better way to do it. And we're going to look at these hunt groups as well. I mean, a couple minutes left here, so I'll try to get through these quick. Nice and easy. We're going to show these are all the calls to the hunt groups for the previous week. And we can change these, right? We could do previous day, we could do current day, you could do whatever you would like to see. But for today's example, we were just doing previous week. It's going to be very similar to the way we did these other ones. This one I did a call statistics just because I like to see numbers for this one. Let's just look at a quick number. Search sets, again, here, just like in the report, we got abandoned answered voicemail with all our hunt groups added and our time periods. And once again, this is a statistics widget with these same statistics types that we have in the search sets. And then the calls to hunt group, same one as above. It's a grouping statistic, just with a couple different statistics added here. Looks like I got answered calls, which makes sense because we wanted to see kind of the answered calls from the hunt group. So, and then below, just another iteration of our busy hours report is our busy hours widget here. This should be a call volume by time period widget. So you're going to get that little graph at the bottom as well. We just did total call count. And I actually just looks like, and yeah, if you didn't know, you can create these widgets from an existing report. So I did that with this one. As you can see, busy hours. If we go back and take a look at busy hours and see how that search set was set up, all we did was say, hey, give me all these calls. So that's what this is looking at all the calls. Here's our time period. And then this one tells you, okay, you can scroll over to and find out which was the most. Like, looks like 9 a.m. of last week, 2,136 calls. Looks like that might have been the highest. Correct. And that's what we saw in that report as well. I've hit the limit. Mike, we have any questions?
Yes, I was muted. Here we go. There were two questions. One was a question regarding using regex in the search criteria. We do not currently support it. Um, and the second question just came in from Charlie. It was for current day reports, is the report capturing data up to the point the report is run, or is it by previous interval completed?
Hmm. So when maybe I'm not understanding that. Well, the report is when you run the report for like a single day, right? It's going to be, I mean, it's going to be almost almost real time, right? What is if everything runs correctly, we're within a 4 to 5 minute range of the last call if you did current day. It should give you, am I answering that right?
Yeah, I think
I
you're. I
think
mean,
so.
when you run the report for current day at the top of the report, it does show the time range of the report. And so I believe for
Oh
current
yeah, I
day,
see what
it
you're saying.
stops it off. Yeah, you can see what it's running. So that
Here,
one's running from what?
I can run one here. Let me run this busy one for current day, and it'll show you what that time window ends at. So if we do 129.55. Okay, yeah, I see what they mean by that. Okay.
Yeah. So our query stops right when the
It's when we had that last data, right? So what's 132 right now, but the last looks like processed data was at 129.55. That would make
yeah.
sense. Yeah.
So yeah, if you're in if you're in the report like once like now, and then you wait 10 15 minutes and run it again, the values and the counts and everything else in your report will be different,
Right.
assuming you
Correct.
have calls coming through and everything else is working the way it should be.
Right.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Or thanks everybody for who attended today. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Our next session will be November 15th when Trey and Jim will be going over how to find dormant and underutilized phones. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.